Okay, let's tag everyone again.
Yeah, I just
We
tagged
are
in a
doing
launch.
okay. Thank you so
Awesome.
much. And
Hello,
in the
you're on.
meantime, I can forward our new contest. Let me just drop the message in the chat right now. I hope many of you have already opportunity to see it. So let me forward it right now. I believe Frank is recording our session. So for those who are not able to participate now, we will send the link in the launch later. So no worries.
Perfect. And we'll just wait another minute or so, and then I will jump in and get started.
Yep. By the way, Natalie, I have a question from a community. If members can submit a multiple content in this contest or just one?
No, we have, as always, it's allowed to post one submission, but for example, they can enclose, I believe, max 4 files for images or for videos. So yeah, we are happy to receive only one Google form because it's about our rules, but do not hesitate to tag us if you have any questions. Generally, you can post 4 images in one post on X, or if you would like to, you can also create a thread and tag us there, so we'll be able to see that it has been posted in the form of thread. So of course, we will review the whole post here. But if you have any issues, as I said, do not hesitate to tag us. Yeah, we are here to assist, so no worries.
Awesome.
I believe that, yes, so you can also remind what's going on with our premium sparks and our secret word.
Yeah, sure. Let's wait for a few more people to join and then we can start.
Cool.
How are you, George? Did you sleep well? Yeah, we can see it.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Awesome. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Yeah, so we're going to do consistent characters this time, and I think this would be that's a good time for me to kind of break down some of the processes that I had when I created that subway video. So I don't know if Natalie or somebody wants to drop that message I sent in the chat when I shared the video in case anybody wants to watch it that hasn't seen it. But yeah, this is one of the characters in it right here. This is like the young man who also was kind of the narrator in the video that I made. And so when it comes to making consistent characters, because when I did it, I had about 25 different scenes or clips in it that I put together for this, 40-second video. And in all of them, he's wearing kind of the same outfit. And so there's a couple different steps that I take to be able to do that. And I will go over all of them. To begin with, I think what you want to do is have a character that's very distinctive. So if I, open up one of these a little bit more, maybe I'll zoom in a little bit so it's bigger. And you want them to be very distinct looking. So when I created the video, and even this right here, I was kind of going for a Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse kind of art aesthetic, because I just love how the art style in there. So you're getting this like a few things. You get this like chromatic aberration where you have the colors kind of separating around the edges. You get this like blue line on the left-hand side and so on. You get these kind of dots, which it's put over his clothing, which was the way that they used to print comic books. So it gives it that kind of comic book look. And then we have like a newer kind of 3D style. But what I want to point out is that he has a very distinctive outfit and look to him. And so in this case, he's got like messy dark brown hair. He's got these headphones around his neck. He has a beige hoodie. And then he has this denim vest with patches on it. And so it's a very specific kind of look that that we want to go for. And that will make it so when we are creating more variations of this character, it's still a very distinctive character. So even when you get a little bit of randomness in what the AI generates, it's still very recognizable because it's so distinct. So I'm going to drop this kind of formula in the chat here for you guys, and then I can walk through it a little bit. So here's the formula. So it's you have like an adjective and then maybe an age or gender of whatever the character is, or if it's not a human, you would do other details. And then you give like what does the hairstyle look like and what is the person wearing. So you want to have some like thanks Mark. I do need to claim my daily sparks. And then you want to have like distinctive outfit things. So it's like distinctive outfit item 1 and 2, and then a unique accessory or something like that. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's claim my rewards. Nice. Okay. So now, and once you have that, so you can see how this kind of follows that. The prompt I have right here follows that framework exactly. So we have a handsome, which is an adjective, and then we have a 20-year-old man, and then we have messy, dark brown hair, wearing oversized vintage beige hoodie, denim vest, covered in patches, and oversized headphones around the neck. I would even say oversized. I think when I did it in the actual video, I think I said white headphones so that it would make them white every time. Because otherwise, in some videos, he's going to be wearing black headphones, and some of them, he's going to be wearing white ones. So right now, I can generate again. And now instead of having silver headphones, I'll have white ones. I'm using flux.2 dev for this. It's one of our new models, but you could use, whichever ones that you want to use for this. So yeah, while that's generating, let's see. So other than like once you have this kind of specific defined style of the character that you're creating, I had this idea of like trying to make them recognizable, even when they're smaller or far away. So just kind of as an internal test that I'm thinking about, I think about if the character was like a silhouette and you couldn't see any, maybe if there's a bright light behind them and you can only see like the outline of who they are, would you still kind of recognize them? And I think that that's a good, just your own kind of judgment if you think that it's distinctive enough. And then, beyond that, we just want to avoid anything that's like generic. So that's why I went with like this beige vest and denim hoodie and stuff, because it's not a very, well-known character in this case. And so once we have the character that we like, and you can kind of dial it in, maybe Flux isn't quite doing the style that I want. Maybe I would try a different one. If we switch to, let's see, Z image, which is also extremely fast, which is nice. A couple things with Z image, which is going to be our new kind of default model because it's amazing, and especially for how fast it can create things. Well, let me just actually create it and show you guys. Z image is really awesome, but what it tends to do is it tends to be very opinionated. So all 4 of these are probably going to be very, very similar to each other. And this is partly why Z image is so fast, is because it's very distilled. And so anytime I create things with Z image, you're going to have like very consistent results with them. But it's a good way of like dialing in the character style. It still followed all of the instructions really well in terms of what the character looks like. Once we have the character that we like, we would go ahead and then we can move to one of our video editing models. So let's switch over to, we can have, I'm seeing a question in the chat, doesn't care. Can we use seed lock to have the same character result? You can, when you do the seed lock, you really actually don't even need to do a seed lock with Z image because they're all so similar anyway. But let me switch to a model that will do very wildly different ones. If I switch to chroma detailed, then we will get 4 very, very different images from it. And this is one of the things I love about chroma, is because it'll give wildly different kind of images and styles. See, like this. So when you're going to lock this seed, all it does is it gives it the same starting point. So when I was generating these, you'll see that as they're going through the steps, they're starting very blurry, and then they will get more and more detailed. When you lock a seed, it gives you the same starting point, and so you can get more consistent images in it. And that will help, but it depends on the model that you're using, if that's something that's necessary. For example, when I was using ZImage, that wouldn't be really necessary because they're already very consistent. But for example, if I grabbed, let's see, let's lock the seed. If I do the exact same prompt, I'm going to get the exact same image. But if I were to take, I don't know, which seed should we use? Let's use, that one's pretty good. Doesn't really matter which one. But if I wanted to restore these settings, and I grab that specific seed from that one. So now if I just generated one, it's going to be that exact one, as long as all my other settings are the same. Yep. And now by locking the seed, if I were to change some of this prompt, if I were to say, oh, I don't know, let's change some colors and stuff. He's going to wear a vintage, let's see, electric green hoodie, denim vest covered in patches is fine. And oversized, let's see, let's do a large cowboy hat on his head. Let's make it a large, he's wearing a green shirt, so we can do a large purple cowboy hat. Now, what we will find when you're doing the seed lock is that you will get a similar kind of image, even though we changed it in that regard. So you can see like it still kept a similar background. It still kept the same kind of profile. And that's the kind of benefit you can get of doing different seeds. And now let's go and let's exit out of this. Oh, I don't need to exit. I already generated one. Let's go to 4. So I'm going to go back into a different one just so we can generate things pretty quickly. I am going to stick with ZImage when I'm creating these guys. And now we have like a totally different character that we're creating. And we can see when I use ZImage, even though I only changed a few things, it's very similar to the previous ZImage generations I had. We can go ahead. I'm going to do a random seed. Oh, and by the way, if you lock the seed, so we have this seed of 382 and so on, but you're generating more than one image, it'll only be one of those images that is using that locked seed. Because if you lock the seed and you generated 4 images and they all have identical settings, you're going to get 4 identical images. So yeah, it'll only lock the seed for one of them. Now what we want to do is we want to grab one of them. Oh, I need to change model. So now if I say I like one of those ones, now I'm going to use Quen Image Edit. Flux.2 is also really good for this. But Quen Image Edit isn't a premium one, which is really nice because then you can use free sparks to use it. But now that we're using an image editing model, our prompting technique needs to change completely. I'm just looking at the chat. Rejoice, I see your question. Yeah, if you're using, the only time you need to use premium spark is if you're using a premium model. So when you open up the Model Explorer, if you look at any of these, you can see like, let me give an example. Flux.2 is a premium model because we have to license it. So it has these 2 icons here that show that it is a premium model and requires premium spark. So Flux.2 has that, Flux Context has that, Flux Crea has it, and I think that's all of them. Flux Chanel does not, neither of the Chromas do, ZImage doesn't, and Quen Image doesn't. So unless you're using Crea, Context, or Flux.2, in any other case, you can use free spark for it. Okay, now I'm going to use Quen Image Edit, and I'm going to use, there's 2 different options. There's the lightning one, which is going to generate faster, but I'm going to use Quen Image Edit, the little better one. And when you have an image editing model, your interface is going to change, and you'll get this context where you can, you can use it as an example image. So let's say I like this one. He's got a little bit more attitude, and I'm going to grab here, and we're going to set it, edit with context over here, which drops it in there. So now we have this kind of like reference image that we're going to use. And now if I want to generate more things like different scenes or different actions that this character is taking, but I want them to look the same, that's really all we need. So now if I were to take this one, I'm going to now clear my style prompt, because now when I'm prompting, in the same way that we did with Flux Context, we're just going to say what the character is doing. So we can say, let's see, if we can keep all of the same details. I am going to say large purple cowboy hat, but this time I'm going to say Riding a unicorn into the sunset with cacti around, and that's probably fine. And then, yeah, let's see what we get here. So I did keep the same, the same exact description of the character, and that is going to be very helpful by doing that. I will be very just getting more reliable looks with what that character is doing and stuff. Isha, you had a question. If we lock the seed, the character will be the same, and we can just change the outfit. If you lock the image seed, it's more for just getting like consistent images, more so than like consistent characters, if that makes sense. If you want to get consistent characters, at least in my experience, the way that I do it, it's through this process where I'm making sure I have the same very specific description of the character in each of the prompts, and then only changing the things that I want, changed. So in this case, you can see we're getting the same character. We are not using the same seed. Well, I guess it's locked, but like only one of these is going to use the same seed. The other thing is like I'm using a different model, so having the seed locked doesn't matter, because locking the seed only matters if you're using the same model. Once you switch models, different models are going to take it in a different direction regardless of which seed you use. But yeah, now he's getting like a little bit of 5 o'clock shadow, almost like a beard. And this is also like maybe if I was generating this, my first image, he was more of a younger man. But now that I switched, he's getting like a more defined jawline and just kind of looks older. And so I could say, I actually don't want him to look older. So maybe instead of handsome 20-year-old man, I might say handsome 20-year-old young man. And even that small change could make a pretty big difference. And I could also say 20-year-old boy if I wanted to give him even younger features. Yeah, we could teach all about seed. I mean, seed is it's a very valuable thing to understand if you are using the same model and you want to get like very consistent results, especially if you were generating a specific aesthetic with a model that you like and you wanted to generate the same scenes. You want like a bunch of images. Maybe it's like the starting clips that you're going to use for video, and there we go. And yeah, exactly, for storyboarding, so that you get consistent look on all of them. The only thing about doing the same seed is that it really would only matter if you're generating one image at a time. I mean, you could generate 4 and lock the seed for your storyboarding, but then when you do that, only one of them is going to be the same seed and the rest are going to be random seeds. But yeah, here we go. There's our new guy. Man, this guy, he's got like little tiny short legs. That could actually be really funny though for a video if you wanted to, depending on the style that you're going for. But yeah, that's ultimately like the steps that you take. If you want to, let me actually grab a couple other ones from the video that I made, because the nice thing about Quinn Image Edit is that we could use more than one reference image. So we have like, oh look, I can do an extra reference right here. Let me grab a photo of the girl. So this was the girl in the video that I made, and now I have the boy. I'm going to do so that I get a similar kind of style. So let me go ahead and get rid of that one and that one. So now we have the same kind of vibe and stuff and the same look, but we have 2 different characters. And so now when I have 2 different characters, you can actually do this with up to 3 different characters, and you can put them into the same image. So now if I would say handsome 20-year-old young, and just for the speed, since we're doing this live, I'm going to go ahead and let's see how well it does without this description. And I'm going to say handsome 20-year-old man, and maybe say handsome 20-year-old young man and young woman. riding, instead of riding a unicorn, we're going to say they're riding unicorns. And by the way, you can get very specific with what you want. You could say the 20-year-old young man is riding a unicorn and the young woman is riding a hippocorn, a hippo unicorn. Let's see what this comes up with here. So we have just double check this. And if I was generating this for, say, like another video that I want to make, I would have much more detailed prompts. And we can, and especially with these new models that we added, you can add extremely detailed prompts, and they work very, very well. we should make it a hippocorn, huh? A hippo with a unicorn horn. Although we could also do a slothicorn, you know. Cool, and this is already coming along pretty nicely. Yeah, so ultimately, I think the biggest takeaway is, I guess there's two major takeaways. Is like, one, make sure your character is very distinctive in how they look. And then number two, just using an image editing model, because being able to take these two different reference images and put them together, you'll get much more consistent results that way. There we go. See? Look, she even has the book that she was reading in there. A good example when I was talking about how detailed you want it to be is like, where's this one? I'm going to add this one just so you guys can see it. But when I was creating the final image where the two of them are like walking out, in my story, he was showing her things on his MacBook and she was reading a book. And so when I was generating this image of the two of them walking out of the station, I specified that they're holding hands, and in his left hand, he's holding a MacBook Pro, and in her right hand, she's holding a brown book, and then all the other details, just because it gives it a little bit more of that consistency for the story that I was telling. But yeah, that one did not turn out as well. Oh, this is funny. See this? This is actually pulling a different character that was from the, it pulled this guy from the extra reference image instead of pulling the other one. That's pretty funny. And if you wanted to, you could also like, oh, actually, I don't want that. I only want her to be in it. And don't really need that one. And then I think that we would get to where it's the same guy in all of them. But yeah, you can. It's really interesting because when you add these reference images, it sees everything in the image, and it's really good at pulling out those very specific defined details. If you guys have any other questions or anything, let me know. I'm going to quickly go over my notes and make sure that I have them. So yeah, basically, it's like I call them like the rule of three. So whenever I'm giving a specific character design, I want to have like a distinctive outfit item, or if it's an animal or something, some kind of distinctive thing about what they look like. Oh yeah, the hippocorn. Yeah, let's cancel this. While we're waiting, let's do. I think we could say a writing. Oh, they could totally both be on one. A giant hippo with a rainbow unicorn horn into the sunset with cacti around, and a giant double rainbow in the sky. I have no idea how well that's going to look. Seeing a giant double rainbow in the sunset, but we'll see. Yeah, so going back to what I was saying, the rule of three. So there's like having a distinctive outfit item. So whatever that ends up being, and then some kind of like distinctive texture or pattern. So in the case of mine, you had like the denim vest with patches, and then some kind of unique accessory or something like that. So that could be the headphones around his neck, or the MacBook Pro. Ooh, that's actually going to turn around. That one's going to come up with a silly looking double rainbow. And this is funny because he's actually on his laptop in that one. Oh, nice. Nepomunsen, I'm seeing your hippocorn. That's pretty solid. Okay. Yeah, so like just making really unique the visual anchors, using the formula that I shared in the chat, and then making sure that it's not generic. So that's the best way to do it. And then ultimately, once you get the character like dialed in that you like, then it's just excellent to use these image editing models. Look at that, man! That one, this hippo is much more fat than the than the one that Nepo shared in the chat. But yeah, look at that. That one's still going. Okay, awesome. I don't need to transform that image anymore. But now if I wanted to, I could say, oh, now we have our characters and we have our hippo. Let's bring, oh, I can't drag. Let's go ahead and, I'm used to using Sogni. Sogni, let's do an extra reference. Oh, nice. Okay, sweet. So now we have both of them there. And I think actually we'd only need this one reference image. Actually, and also, which of these do I like the most? I think the first one. Oh, wait a second. That is definitely an elephant. I just realized that on two of them, it generated an elephant. That's super funny. There we go. There's our amazing hippocorn. Yeah, so basically once we have that, I mean, I think the next thing to do would be to make a video of it. So once we have this model, we could go ahead and say, okay, oops, dropping my phone. Once we have this model, we can say, okay, what do we want to happen in this frame? And so in this case, I think what I would have is maybe have the hippo turn around and run away from the camera. And so in this case, instead of describing what we see in the image, like in this case, I don't need to describe that it's, you know, two people on top of a hippocorn. I can say the hippo. I feel like if I use the word hippocorn, it's going to confuse it. So I'm going to say the hippo turns away from the camera and runs towards the sunset. Let's say in super speed. Let's add some motion blur and speed lines. And then we'll say the camera, let's have the camera pan up into the sky viewing stars. I don't know, something like that. And this one's going to take a while, so let's go ahead. We'll do speed instead of quality. I usually, when I'm generating videos, when I'm starting to generate the videos, I usually generate 4 at a time, and I will, let's see, get that one out of the way. I don't need to do an ending frame, 16 frames per second, and we can do 4 steps, that's fine. But I'll keep my settings low as I'm like kind of dialing this in, so I can be more, let's make it like 4 seconds, and that way when I start generating them, they can generate a little bit faster. And then when I see that I'm starting to get like what I want to see, then I'm like, okay, this one got really close. So I'll take the same prompt. There we go. Look how fast that was. So the hippo runs away and then the camera pans up. I'm like, okay, so what I would do then is that I would start dialing in the settings more deeply. This is actually nice because one of the things that we also notice very frequently is that the AI videos that we generate are kind of in slow motion. It has a very strong tendency to want to generate slow motion videos. And so having like a description here that's going to turn around, run away really fast, and then the camera pans up, but I only gave it 4 seconds to do all of that, then it kind of inherently is going to have to do it faster. Let's see what other ones we got. Getting very consistent results in all of them. Another thing that we could do, if I were to go back and let's say, I'm going to go back into generating an image and let's take this one and instead of let's actually view it. Yeah. Instead of taking it as is, we can totally enhance it. And so we have in Sogni Studio, we have new enhancing features. So if you're using Sogni Studio, then you'll have different options for it where it uses Z image to enhance it. And those will be added. They're currently actually being added to Sogni Web, so we will have those soon as well. But that way we can do, oh, did I do that enhance? You know what I'm going to do? Instead of enhancing it that way, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it manually. I'm going to switch to Z image because Z image does a good job. Because what I've found is that Quinn Image Edit is really good at being specific about the changes that you want. But then once you get Quinn Image to say, okay, now I took my 2 characters, or I guess 3 characters in this case, and I've put them together in a single photo, but maybe this isn't as high of quality that I want, then that is when we would use a guide image. So I can go ahead and grab this, set it as a guide image, and now we have, we can change our strength and everything. And we can minimize this. And now I will switch to a model. Let's go back. I'm going to use, I don't know. Let's just use Flex.2. Pretty good. And now that I have kind of now that I know that I want what I want with the image editing model, now I could go ahead and dial in the style, but I'm like, okay, it's like, how close do I want it to be to what it created? Maybe I said I want it to have more paint texture or more details or something like that. And this was going to give me a very specific kind of look for it. This would also be a good time to lock the seed if you wanted to iterate without having that extra bit of randomness. But now that we're doing this, we would need to be, very specific about what we want. And that includes the style prompt. So we have a handsome 20-year-old young man and young woman writing this. I think that's probably fine for now. But let's say I would want to do a different style. Let's say I wanted to do, I don't know, we could do digital art. That'd be a good one. Let's add some more details to it. Urban digital art. We can say, actually, no, let's not do digital art. Let's do something totally different. There's kind of a balance to be found if we said, I don't know, ink punk, fantasy art is probably fine. Okay, there we go. So we have our fantasy art one. Now, then there's a balance between how much strength that we give it, because it's like if I do a lot of strength, I'm going to get basically the same image. But if I dial it down, I'm going to lose some of the same looks. And you might notice if we do this, I'm not specifying what they are wearing. I'm not specifying their hair color or anything. And so when I start lowering the guide image percentage, I'm going to start getting to a point where they are going to look a little less like the same characters. But let's see. Any other questions? Let's see. I'm going to check the chat for a bit. Oh, yeah. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me with them. And if you tag me, then I'll see them sooner. So yeah, just like I said, we didn't specify what they are wearing or what they look like. We just have 20-year-old young man and young woman riding a hippo. And we do get, a cool image of it, but it's like definitely not the same people. That's a pretty cool hippocorn though. It really kind of went all out with how long that horn is. What about realistic characters? Yeah, I mean, it's really about what kind of, it's really the same process if you use photorealistic characters versus cartoon characters. You would choose a style that is more realistic, so something that is like maybe photography. If you use one of these styles or one of the film styles, I just saw here, we have like, actually, I don't know if you guys can see my drop-down menus when I open them up, but yeah, that's really what it comes down to, is just like specifying it and getting it with the same starting image. If you wanted to do very realistic characters, I think you could use, let me switch models. Let's minimize the style. You can see that flex2.dev, I'm doing, what's my guide image at? 42%, which is pretty low, which is why we're getting something very different. But when you're dialing in your initial image, I did it as this, like I want it to be this kind of cartoony comic book graffiti style. But if you did a style that is more realistic, and you do a model that, especially if you do a model that is more opinionated and wanting to make realistic ones, like if you do Flux Kriya, let's see. Flux Kriya is one that is very much opinionated and wants to create realistic ones. We'll see how well it does, because I changed the strength to 50 and I'm still using a guide image. Yeah, and that's one of the great things about having different models, is being able to choose ones that are more photorealistic. But in this case, I'm doing a guide image that is not photorealistic, so it's not. Oh, look at this one. This hippo got some hair. Oh, and I'm also generating small ones. I want a bigger image size than that. Let's do the full size. Cancel. And I'm just going to close out of the guide image and say, okay, so this model, I know that this model wants to create photorealistic images. And so I'm going to choose photography. Ooh, I just saw where the wildlife, action wildlife. That'll be a good one. I will say, when you're using a model that wants to do realistic kind of looks, and then you try to do something that's more fantastical or fantasy, sometimes you get weird results. This isn't too bad. But this is also, I'm doing it from, it's like a wide angle one. And so you're not going to have as much details if you did like a close up. And I'd say also, like, Kriya definitely thrives a lot more with like close up and details. Let's see how Z image does. This is another one that I've noticed that tends to be, I don't know if it says it on here, but it does kind of want to, it leans towards photorealism, let's say. Nice. It added a hippo with a unicorn as the hippo's unicorn horn. Oh, probably because I said hippo with a rainbow unicorn horn. Yeah, that's funny. Maybe if we said like a giant hippo unicorn. Let's try that. I'm going to see if that works better. That's pretty funny. A giant hippo unicorn into the sunset. Yeah, there we go. I guess maybe Z image is it's not really interested in wanting to create a hippocorn. I think this is less so that it's like doesn't want to follow it, and more so that Z image is so opinionated. And so it's like, as soon as I use the word unicorn, that's what it wants to create. But I could say hippo with a rainbow spiral horn. Maybe that is better. And I take the word unicorn out. Ooh, you know what I could do? I'm actually going to change this. Instead of hippo, I'm going to change it to a rhino. A rhino instead of a hippo, because they already have horns. And see, that's actually pretty cool. Yeah, so definitely you can see that it's, I mean, I guess I have action wildlife as my style prompt, but it is pretty opinionated, wanting to make realistic ones. All right, we are we're about 40 minutes into it. If you guys have any other questions, we can also share the secret phrase. And if you guys have any other things that you want to see, I'm happy to go over them. I think in the next Render With Me session, I know we talked about doing the seed, but I think we should focus on video prompting and how to do like first frame and last frame, and how I've kind of like being able to link multiple videos together in a really seamless way. Let's see, question, been producing very long prompts. Does it affect the final image quality? I mean, yeah, your prompt always does. I will say Z image is very, very good at really long prompts. I'm going to grab a prompt and I'm going to make it really, really detailed. Give me a second. Okay, I'm going into my LLM to give it the same starting prompt. So this is the prompt that I just gave it, just the same one that we started with. I'm going to turn off action wildlife, and I'm not going to do a style prompt, just so you guys can kind of see where we're starting from. These will be very similar to the ones we did earlier. Only in this case, I didn't specify that kind of like previous style. So now we're getting a more photorealistic version of him. But okay, here we go. That is a very long one. I'm gonna have to do a little cleanup. So I'm gonna paste the entire thing in here. So here's this prompt that it just generated. It separated like the context and action and other things, which I don't want. Don't need to add the texture details and the lighting. Don't need to be labeled. That's just gonna add noise to the prompt. Okay. So in this case, it's a very, very long, very detailed prompt. And we've added more details of, he's holding a smoking soldering iron against a glowing futuristic motherboard, sparks flying. He's got a NASA patch. He's got some band logos, sweat on his forehead. So that's a very detailed one. I actually don't know how this one's going to do, but let's see. There we go. So okay, sweet. So here's the prompt that we have. Let's open up one of these and see how well it followed it. So we have 20-year-old man, messy brown hair, wearing oversized stuff. That's all the same. Leaning precariously over a rusted workbench, which you can see we've got a rusted workbench that he's working on, and a cramped cyberpunk repair shop. Yeah, I mean that's pretty. It's a realistic one, but yeah. Holding a smoking soldering iron, which he is, against a glowing futuristic motherboard. I wouldn't say that the glowing futuristic side was really, it did that very well, but it did do some nice lighting there. Sparks flying, backgrounds filled with stacks of flickering CRT monitors, which, I mean, they're not going to be flickering in a photo. And then sweat beading on his forehead. You can see a little bit of like glistening here. It's probably not a close enough one for it to do that. And then anything else? Grease smudges on his cheek, which it did. There's some atmospheric haze. You can see some haze, especially like at the top here, where you have the moonlight shining through. We have some dust motes dancing. Don't really see the dust motes. Maybe it doesn't want to create like stuff floating in the air. And then we have the volumetric blue moonlight. That's the same kind of like this look here, where you have volumetric lighting is a really interesting thing where the light shines through and illuminates the 3D space, and you get that when you have like smoke or fog and stuff like that. And then warm tungsten desk lamp. You don't really see the tungsten desk lamp, but you get this like tungsten colored lighting in here. And then yeah, I think it did not do, well, it did, yeah, it didn't really do the rim lighting. Rim lighting is where the light is behind the subject and you get this kind of like glow around them, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, generally speaking, that's a very complex and detailed prompt that it followed quite well. So yeah, to answer your question, longer prompts are actually excellent because when you have all of that detail, I copied the entire, that's funny. I copied the entire response that the AI gave me. I'm going to try it again now that it doesn't have a bunch of extra crap in there. Let's see. Yeah, so very similar looks. But yeah. Yeah, let's go ahead and drop the secret phrase, Sol.
Yeah. Okay, Josh, it was a nice session. I especially like the image which is on the screen right now. It's really nice. It was really informative session. We really learned something new today. So it will be helping us to create, and definitely our member will our member learn something new and use this in our
awesome, yeah,
current contest. So that was really nice. So
cool, yeah, super glad.
So guys, are you ready? Okay. So the secret phrase for today's render with me is based on the topic. So I'm repeating it again. It's character consistency.
Character consistency. Thanks. So you cut out for a second there, but yeah, character consistency.
Oh.
And just for a little reminder, I'm going to go ahead and share this right here. Here is that framework for getting these starting things going. You can change this framework however you want, but the point is this should just be very detailed and specific. The phrase was character consistency. Character consistency.
Character consistency. We are recalling it again. So if you missed it, listen it carefully. It's character consistency.
Cool, guys. Not director, character. Like you're generating a character.
It's related to our topic, guys.
Mm-hmm. We're making consistent characters.
Character. Yeah. character consistency. Done.
Cool.
Great.
All right. Let me stop sharing.
Thank you so
The
much,
session
Josh.
was,
It was amazing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Happy to
that
do
was
it. I'm
really
excited to
informative.
do more of these too. I always love doing the Render with Me sessions.
You should be our host every time, seriously, because of your
Yeah,
gorgeous accent. I can listen to you and listen to you all the time.
Well, I think I can do next
yeah.
week too, because I think next week we should focus on video. I want to show you guys how to clip different multiple videos together. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, okay, I
Yep.
will repeat it one more time. Character consistency. Okay, guys, thank you so much. I believe we can wrap it up.
Okay,
If you have
guys.
any questions,
Yes.
do not hesitate to tag us. We will send Google form once again in our launch channel. So yeah, feel free to tag us, tag Josh if you have any further questions, and can't wait to see the result of your creations.
Yeah, do share your stuff with us when you guys are creating these consistent characters. Like, feel free to share them and tag me. I'd love to see them.
Okay, guys. Keep creating. Bye bye. See you next week. Take
Thanks,
care.
guys.
Bye. Thank
We'll see
you.
ya.
Bye bye.